Now we're going to study sparring techniques. One of the most important things about sparring techniques is your fighting stance, which is your base. Strong foundation is very important. If you notice, both fighters are in what we call a fighting stance, a boxer stance. You notice that both their knees are bent, their heels on their back foot are elevated, and they are ready to go. They got their hands up, hands out. Each one has a different stance. The fighter on the left, he has a boxing stance with his hands in close. The boxer on the right has his hands extended, which allows him ability to move faster, because now everything coming to him has to pass his hands. The first thing you have to notice, and very important about when you come into sparring, is that you have to control the distance between you and the fighter. Now that's called the gap. As we move forward, there's an important thing, what we call bridging the gap. We bridge the gap by combination. And how you bridge the gap by combination is simply by jabbing and stepping. Now if you look at the gap, you'll notice that the gap has shrunken. It is smaller now, because he's now within range to strike. If you notice one thing is about it, it's called an approach. The approach that he used was what we call step and slide. He stepped and he slid his back foot. Complete. Now, where he's at, the position he's in now, he can actually kick. He picks his leg up, bam, and he can kick. Inside leg kick. That's called approach. How you approach the gap is very important. There's two things you have to remember about the gap. It's bridging the gap and closing the gap. Closing the gap is when you slide in, you strike, kick, and you continue to go, and you never stop. Now the gap is closed. There is no room for your opponent to move but back. There are two types of striking techniques that we deal with in MMA. We're going to give you one basic one, which we call passive-aggressive. That is attacking and defending at the same time. What we'll see now is what we call the opponent is striking a jab toward his opponent. He blocks and he strikes at the same time. Watch it again as we slow it down a little bit for you. Now we're going to do it faster so you can see what it looks like. That is called passive-aggressive. That is blocking and striking at the same time. Now we're going to demonstrate with you some basics on what we call slips and takedowns. The opponent throws a jab at his opponent. He slips it, parries it, he moves in, he grabs leg, wraps, and down. That's what we call a slip and a takedown from a jab. Now I'm going to show you a slip and a takedown from what we call an inside-outside crescent. It's coming up against the opponent catches the leg up, he then turns, presses down, he's automatically in the side mount. The next is a takedown from a roundhouse kick. Coming from the rear leg, he comes up, he catches, he turns it to the leg, down. Again, he has his opponent at a disadvantage. Now you'll see what we call a counter for a jab. Jab is thrown, and then he's struck. Step back out. Now we're going to do it faster so you can see what it looks like. Great. Now you'll see what we call a counter for a hook. Hook punch is thrown from the lead hand. It's caught, and then it's struck. He struck right on his chin with the same hand he blocked with. All right. Now you'll see a counter for an uppercut from the lead hand. He blocks down and strikes to the head. Notice he has control of the hand that came. He came down on those hands, control. He has many options from this point. Great. Now you see a counter for a reverse or a straight right coming at him. He blocks with his lead hand, he strikes, and he has a lot of options at that point. Now we'll talk about timing. When you look at timing, timing is based on how you move. So as you notice, the fighters are moving around on their feet. Each one is trying to find a way to get in to make an attack. Well, one way to get in to make an attack, we use what we call feints. We're going to see a feint with a jab for a low jab to a high jab. What happens is, if you notice, once the movement began, both fighters stop. That's what happens when you feint. Your opponent is going to react to the feint, his feet will stop, and then you're able to do a double strike. Next, you'll see a feint from a jab to a straight right. So he feints low to the body, and he throws a high punch to the head. Remember this. This is science, and very important to remember. The mind responds to the strongest stimuli. It can only respond to one thing at a time. So once you begin to strike or you make a movement, his mind automatically goes to the lower part of his body because he thinks he's about to get hit. So the mind's preparing the body for the impact, and then he's struck in the head. Next one is a feint with a jab. With the same hand, he throws a lead hook. He feints the jab to the body, and he hooks to the head. It allows him to continue to go. Notice each technique is being combined with everything that we talked about. You can see the step and slide. You can see the feint moving forward. You see the bridge being gapped. Watch them as they do it again. Watch all these techniques come together. Very good. That is timing. Now we're gonna end our tape with the most important part. This is combination takedowns. This is when you move towards your opponent, you want a takedown. So you begin to bridge the gap. 1, 2. He slips, he's got blocked. He moves, he slips the block, he steps in, and he takes his opponent down. Always know that whenever you attack, to expect for your opponent to counter and attack back. So he sets him up with the 1, 2, knowing he's going to swing, he sweeps, and then takes him down. These we call attack by combination takedowns. Thank you very much.